Hello YouTubers, it's Shelly the Nut again. I'm going to do another little story time for you. So, anyway, I was living in Arizona, and it was like I don't want to say, I don't know, 1996 I think, something like that, maybe. Anyway, so, I was at the bar, and my boyfriend at the time, we'll call him Bill, he was sitting there talking to his ex-girlfriend. Kind of pissed me off, whatever. I was living with him at the time, though. I wasn't living with him at the time. That's right. I had left him, moved to his friend's house because his friend wanted watching. Anyway, so I went by. I was eating some pistachios, and I went by and I threw some shells at him. So at that time, he was best friends with the owner, and the owner was like, "Shelly, get out of here! You're starting shit. Whatever, get out." And I was like, "Over some pistachio shells?" I'm like, "Christ, it didn't even hurt." Anyway, so I left. And I go to our old apartment, where he's living, his apartment. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm sitting on his Jeep. So, because I wanted to see if she was coming home with him or not, So anyway, so I'm sitting there, and he's just pulling in, and he's like, "Get off my Jeep." And I was like, "Fuck you," whatever. So I'm sitting there, and I see him go in, and I'm like, "What the fuck is he doing in there?" So I go, and I peek in the window, and I see he's got a gun in his hand. I was like, "What the fuck?" So I turn around, and he's like, "I'm going up," and he yelled, "I'm going to shoot you." I was like, "Fuck you!" And I start running, and then I hear "pow pow," and I grab, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And I got these shooting pains, these burning pains in my leg, and I look down, and there's blood running down. I was like, "What?" I said, "You just fucking shot me." He said, "No, I didn't. I was shooting at the ground." I'm like, "You just fucking shot me." And so I turn around, and I start limping back to the front door, and I can see in my one leg where there's blood running down my leg, but my foot starts hurting in my other leg. So I look down, and I said, "Oh my god, I think you shot me twice." And he goes, "What?" "No, I didn't." And so I pull off my shoe, and sure enough, in the bottom of my shoe there's blood, and there's a hole in the bottom of my shoe. So anyway, so I'm like, I need to go to the hospital. I need to go to the freaking hospital. You know what I mean? Like, I just been shot. So he gets me in his car, and he takes me back to my house. And I'm like, "What are you doing? I need to go to the hospital." So we walk in my house, and in my bedroom, my basket was still sitting on my bed. He goes, "You didn't even come home last night." I was like, "Yeah, I did." Really, I didn't. I was seeing this other guy, Paul, at the same time. But anyway, whatever. That's neither here nor there. Anyway, so he's like, "Yeah, where'd you fucking stay?" He's like, you didn't stay here because the basket's still on the... Anyway, so I go to turn around. He walks out. I go to turn around, and he freaking grabs me, and he's got a knife in it. And so he's got a knife in his hand. So he holds it up against my throat, and I was like, "Go ahead. Do you have the balls to do it? Go ahead. Do it. Put me out of my misery. Just go ahead. Do it." So in frustration, he turns around, punches me in the face, and he walks out the door. So in the meantime, I call my friend, we'll call her Gail. I call her and Paul, that's her real name actually, shows up, and they take me to the hospital. So we get to the hospital, and I said, it was Cinco de Mayo. I said, it must have been a stray bullet. I didn't want to get anybody in trouble. I'm not a cop caller. I don't friggin' want to get anybody to go to jail. And plus, I still love them. Yes, after all this, I still love them. So, the hospital calls the cops. Cops come, and they're working on my leg. So I don't know if you can see, but the bullet actually went in the side of my calf or whatever, and it came out the back of my leg. You can see the entry and the exit. So they start working on that. It's burning. Oh my god, they're shooting air and water through it to get all this stuff out. Anyway, so at this point they find out I don't have insurance, and they just stop working on me. Just stop. And the police are saying, what was this? I said it was a stray bullet, blah, 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 blah. At this point, they go out to the car, and they crime scene Gina's car off. I don't know why. I mean, Gail, God, whatever. You all know it's Gina now. Anyway, they crime scene Gina's car off, and I'm like, that's not the crime scene or whatever. So apparently, Gina's telling the cops where my boyfriend lives, about whatever, his name, everything. So they go to his house in the meantime, and they said, I don't know why they did this, but they said, Gina's in the hospital. Supposedly they were trying to trip him up by him saying, "What? I didn't do anything to Gina. I shot Chili." I guess they expected him to do that. But he did. He said, "What are you talking about?" what are we talking about? Why is Gina in the hospital? Blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, there's blood in front of the door. 3 other people had called saying they heard gunshots. But that wasn't enough evidence to do anything. Anyway, so they just, whatever, walked away. Anyway, so, I get home or whatever, and I was like, what in the hell? So, oh no, I'm sorry, let me go back. So when they did do the initial, they had to x-ray me to see if there was any bullets. That's how they, they saw it through and through. And this foot, the bullet went in the bottom of my heel, and it's still lodged in my ankle part to this day. They said it would pop out in like 6 to 7 years, but it's still in there. Anyway, so I just went for an x-ray for my feet because I'm having really bad problems with lymphedema and stuff. And the doctor said, do you know you have metal fragments in both legs? And I was like, oh yeah, the right. I said, no, just one. She said, no, two. And I said, no, just one. And she said, come here. And so apparently, right in this area, there is still metal bullet fragments in my leg. So, anyway, that's my story of how I got shot by my ex-boyfriend. And it did work to his advantage, though. It actually did. Because at the time, I was in a blueprint reading class, and I was failing miserably because at that time I wanted to go into CNC. And I was still talking to him after this deal because I still loved him, and yes, we still got together, and yes, we were still together, and actually, anyway, we keep in touch. Let's just put it that way. He's in Arizona. I'm in Baltimore now, though. But anyway, so I'm like, I got to go to class. I need you to take me to class because I couldn't barely walk because of the injuries. So he takes me to Essex Community College, and he's got me on his shoulder. I come wobbling in to friggin' my blueprint reading class, which I'm late for the exam. The teacher's like, what's wrong with you? And I said, I got shot. And he's like, what? I said, I got shot, but I'm here to take the test. And he's like, oh my God. So I take the test. Don't even finish it because I only knew like 56 out of 500 questions or whatever. So the grades come out, and guess what? I got an A. So, needless to say, I guess it did help me a little bit. Anyway, so that's my story of how I got shot by my ex-boyfriend. And to this day, I'll do a part 2 and a part 3 and a part 4 to this because it's still related to other things, other stories that have happened to me, which, yeah, go ahead. If I were you, I'd subscribe to this. I would subscribe to my channel because you'd want to catch these other ones too. Pretty bizarre, weird, exciting. I'm telling you, I need to write a book. So, you might want to stay tuned and watch out for my bestseller hit that's coming out too. Anyway, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, or the dislike button, whichever one you want. And you might want to stay tuned for some more story time. Check out my product reviews and some more what the fuck in the news. For now, be safe out there, guys.